Hi everyone, welcome to this new video. My name is Shinobi, I'm a virtual photographer, and today we're gonna dive into a new photo mode. This one is very special for me because the game is very special for me and because I worked on this photo mode. Today it's CLAIR OBSCUR Expedition 33, but before we start I need to say that I'm playing this right now on GeForce Now. Thank you GeForce Now for providing me access to this amazing feature. So if you want to play this game in the best settings possible, you might want to do it through GeForce Now streaming service. And also, if you buy some EA products, I need to remind you that I have a creator code. It's Shinobi. You use it on any product that you purchase on EA Store or on your EA Play Pro or EA Play subscription, and sometimes, not always, you will get a promo or something. Every time I will get a bit of something, so that would help tremendously. Thank you for your support. And now let's dive into this photo model. Let me explain you a couple of things. Alright, so don't worry about this weird setting. I'm not a YouTuber. It's not gonna be long. We're gonna dive into the game pretty soon. Just to explain a bit maybe what I do when I work on photo modes, because sometimes people get confused probably. So when I work on a photo mode as a consultant, as I call it, because by lacks of other words, I'm providing different services. So first of all, I help teams to understand what features are important, what features are not that important, how to customize their own photo mode, how to fit it with their own IDs and needs actually, and also organizing the tabs, set the priorities within the features to help them not lose too much time, and of course there is the testing phase, the feedback phase, the again testing phase, adjusting this, that, give you just one example, maybe when they add the photo mode in combat mode, I thought it was very important to have it in combat, of course, because you have so many cool animations and effects and stuff like this. And first time they did, I noticed when I used the photo mode that it was not an actual pose. Like, it was slightly moving. So of course, if you pose it like 10 seconds to just test the feature, it's no problem. But as soon as I start taking shots, I noticed that after 5 or 10 minutes working on my shot, that was not at all the same position. So, that's something that had to be fixed, and they did perfectly. So, this kind of things. So long story short, every feature that is in this photo mode is something I requested. Every feature that is not in the photo mode is something I requested, but they couldn't make in. So, if you feel like, yeah, but they should have done this, that, and then, yes, I agree with you. Sometimes some stuff were just not possible for different reasons. So, who cares? The important thing here, and why I'm very happy with this photo mode, is having some features that push boundaries of what have been done so far, especially in the big games like this. It's very important, because potentially other games in the future will take this one as a model and think, oh yeah, I didn't know we could put that many light sources, for instance, or we could leave the camera completely free without too many troubles, even on consoles. So yeah, I did this on few games now. It's the fourth game, I think. Did it on Mortal Shell, on The Shore, on Deathloop, and now on Expedition 33. If you compare all those photo modes, you will see that they are very different and they don't have all the features. Despite me being the guy asking for the same features. So you would understand that, of course, it depends majorly on the studio, on the budget, on the time allowed. This photo mode update is part of the thank you update, and they have a new area, they have new costumes, they have new quests, new bosses. So their hands were full of, in few months, they did a pretty great job. So being able to have that many cool features in this photo mode is really something I'm proud of, and happy they could deliver. They did a really good job. So this being out of the way, there are some stuff that I will criticize on this photo mode for sure. Again, I'm not the decision maker when I do advising on this, so of course there are some stuff I'm not happy with, kind of. So I will talk about that. All right, so to open the photo mode, we didn't get an actual shortcut on like straight away from, I mean, on PC, if you press P, you will have the photo mode right away, but otherwise you have to go to the escape menu, like the pause menu, and then it's the second choice from here. So it's not too many clicks away, so it's okay. But yeah, the photo mode is accessible in everywhere in the game, almost. Especially in cutscenes, of course, for your pleasure to have the best portraits and best, facial features or key moment in the story, beautiful scenery and stuff like this. You can also open it mid-fight, mid-parry, anytime. Sometimes in some animations, when you go up a rope, you can't open it. Also in dialogues, you can't. But other than that, and of course the pre-rendered cutscenes, you can't open the photo mode. Also, if you open the photo mode in the cutscenes, it changes. It's not the same access. So just pause the cutscene with X or A, I guess, on controllers, and then you will have the prompt down left corner. It's triangle or Y with the controllers, and P on the keyboard. I'm not sure why it's like that. So sometimes people miss it apparently, but yeah, you can still access. And once you are in the cutscene and once you're in the photo mode, you will be able to use every feature we're gonna see in a minute. The no collision stuff, the lights, everything. So yeah, enjoy that too. Then you open the photo mode and you are in a free cam, of course. Like, I'm glad that Orbital's camera is something from the past. So it's a free cam, and it's also a camera that is like unlimited. So let me demonstrate this, because sometimes you will have an invisible wall like this and you will think like, yeah, that's not a great range. But if you go to the first tab, you have the collision setting. It's on by default, of course, but you can put it off, and which means that now all the walls or anything are completely fine to go through. And, I could demonstrate this, but there is literally no limit in the range. So you can go anywhere you want. It's always a big victory to get this, because they hesitate a lot about this, breaking the game and, going anywhere. But yeah, I'm a guy that is very convincing, I guess. So yeah, you can get some really cool shots like you wouldn't expect when you open the photo mode, but as soon as you start moving around, and you'd be like, oh yeah, why not this and that and there. Okay, so you can also reset the camera position by pressing the left joystick. And okay, let's go tab by tab as usual. First of all, you have the menu where you can move the camera, and you have the menu when you can do your settings. I'm not a huge fan of this, but this is a thing that a lot of games do now, and it's just a bit of muscle memory work, but as soon as you get the gist of it, it's okay, I guess. So you can move around, as I said, you can move up and move down with the triggers. You can look and rotate your camera, obviously, and you can reset the position, as I just said. And you have a slow motion mode, which is very important also for the light tab. We'll get to this in a moment. So you just press the left button. It's L1 button or LB if you're on Xbox. And you can move really slowly in, if I go full speed, it's this, and then it's that. So It's really cool for the portraits, the really close-ups, of course. The mapping is maybe not the best, because if you want to crane down or crane up, especially crane down, it's a bit of a weird position on the controller, but you don't have to do this a lot, so it's okay, I guess. And as I said, it will also apply this slow-mo on the light sources when you move them around, and this will be very helpful. So yeah, you have the take screenshot button. It's of course on console. You will use your share button or whatever it's called on Xbox. On PC, you can also press the F12 if you play on Steam. You will get the same prompt if you play F12 on your keyboard or on your option button on your controller. So if you want to capture in a best quality, I guess you should use a different way of capturing, like reshade or maybe NVIDIA feature or whatever. Anyways, that's you have the exit photo mode. Of course, you can hide the user interface with Y or triangle, and that's very important, of course. And then you have the toggle menu on the X or on the square button on PlayStation. And then you cannot move the camera anymore. Everything you do will be the settings controls. So you have the camera roll, of course. It's a full rotation like this. It's okay. You can reset one setting at a time with the left trigger, and you can reset the whole tab with the right trigger. It will, if you ask to reset all the tab, it will ask you if you're sure about it, so don't worry about messing around. You have the field of view. Field of view obviously can go very wide, because I always love to have a lot of possibilities in the angles, even though it's weird. And it can go very zoomed in, because that's very important for portraits. Let me find my characters. Yeah, she's there. So you see, if you want some super close-ups, you will be able to. Let me just make a quick focus on her. You know, you can move, and that's where the slow motion will be very important to get, to just go as close as you can, you know. Let me just light a bit. Okay, very wide range of possibilities in the field of view. Let me just put it back normal. Then you have the aperture, so it's the dot setting. So you can go from f1, which is the smallest sharp area, to f32. I would have loved that they call this 33, which is the largest. You can also play with the sensor width, the intensity of it. So even if you're in the largest thing, you can get a very blurred background. You have the autofocus system. So autofocus is just on the center of the shot. So what you can do, usually to just bring the focus point where you want it, you put the autofocus on, and then you just go in movement mode, and then you just move around like this, and it will put your focus where you want it. It's a cool way to make it travel fast, I guess. So yeah, you can do this. There is no pointer where the actual focus point is. It's the center. So I mean, if you really want it, you can use the grid that we'll see in a moment. But yeah, I don't think it's that important. I use it really just to make a quick focus, and then I put it off, and I use other settings to manually put my focus where I want. So then you have the display focus point, which just gives you a texture, like a wall texture, where the focus point is, and then you can move it around with the focus distance to just manage perfectly your focus point. It's not the best looking one I've seen. I like what they did in Hellblade. That's the model I gave them to check on. And I also like what the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order or Survivor do. But you know, at least there is something you can visualize really easily where your thing is. And I also use this because it's a dark texture. It's actually yellow. It used to be red, but it changed to yellow because there are a lot of red light area in the game. But actually, I'm now in a yellow one, so but yeah, it brings like it makes a bit of darker colors background, so I use it sometimes to enhance the character and make the background a bit darker. We don't have like backgrounds, you know, solid backgrounds like in some other games, so I use this sometimes to help bringing more darkness into my background. Anyways, so yeah, you just put your settings where you want it, and then you can go back and put it off and play with your off. Then you have the collision stuff we saw before. It's just on and off, and you go through the walls or through anything in the game if it's on, if it's off, sorry. And then the frame is just, you know, the usual black bounds to just make different aspect ratios. I wish I was actually hoping for more like frame, like decorative frame, because the game is so heavy on the painting theme. So, you know, like classical frames and stuff, but it was just not, I mean, not that important either. So it was not high on the list of the very, you know, the priority stuff. And grid was high on my priority list. So we have three grids. The usual rule of third, the fee grid that I personally really love and is not used enough in my opinion, and the cross lines that is great to align and center things and to get your center point. You know, you can just move like this. Again, using the slow mode here. Not slow motion, sorry, that's different. Also, the grid, if you keep it, when you hide the UI, it disappears, so don't worry about forgetting it in your shot, which happens sometimes. And that's it for the first tab. Let's go to the second one. Second one is color grading, so you will have all your fancy brightness and contrast and stuff. So not gonna spend too much time in here, but what I'm happy with is that we get the RGB curves of any different settings like saturation, contrast, and gamma. So you have the brightness, obviously. You can go pretty bright, you know. You can also go pretty dark. My recommendation is if you want to make portraits with dark background, because we don't have solid background, it would be to go in the minimum brightness, not full dark, because then the light doesn't show up, but minimum darkness. So you put something dark in your background and you will be fine, I guess. Not perfect, but yeah. And then you put your lights, you know, something like that. So yeah, that's it. Brightness, temperature, the usual. It will go, you know, more yellowish or bluish. You can play with a lot of settings with this. Tint is the usual, more magenta or greenish. Then you have the saturation intensity, and yeah, I mean, just play around with all these because you can play on the reds or taking the reds off. It's not like color selection, right? It's not like you will have only the reds, but the overall curves will be played on. So, you know, contrast, intensity, again, every channel, red, green, blue, gamma intensity, same, you have the overall, and you have the red, green, and blue channels. So I encourage you to really mess with all the settings to get some really cool effects, really cool lighting. You can couple this with the filters. You know, it's really open bar for creativity and for cool effect, but it takes time and experimentation. So you should do this a lot. Then we have the filters. So I'm gonna go fast on the filters because Truth to be told, the filters that ended up in there, again, time and reasons, are not my favorite ever, but we have some interesting ones like the black and white, of course, very important. You have the black, white, and gold that is not looking good in any situations, but if you want a specific shot using this one with their outfit and stuff, you can get some really cool shot, but it's really something you have to plan, in my opinion. Same with the black, white, and red. There are some specific locations or thing you can do with it, but it has to be, in my opinion, like a decision. Then you have the usual dawn, morning, some, just a lot of them, with sometimes weird effects. Again, creativity can be, something can pop up with this that I don't see right now, but stuff like that looks pretty good. Actually, this like could be like a horror poster or something. I don't know. So I think there are like 30, maybe 33. Did they do that? Did they do the 33 joke? I'm not sure. But yeah, you couple this with the brightness and sometimes, oh, not here, but okay. Sometimes you will get some cool effects playing around with the brightness settings as well. Underwater, stuff like that. So just check them all. I'm not gonna do the list here. You have the intensity. Oh yeah, I've seen people playing with intensity in a very effective way. Yeah, this one maybe the draft one with the low intensity is very interesting. Like full intensity is like, wow, okay, that's intense. But if you play with it, you can get some sketchy effects. Some interesting stuff to be done. Then the visual effects, it's the classic one, chromatic aberration. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they took care of getting the chromatic aberration off. I'm not sure, actually. I should have tested this again because I don't remember. But my game is always set without chromatic aberration because I hate it. But if so, you can still have the chromatic aberration in the photo mode. That's something, sometimes some games, if you take it off of your settings, you don't have access in it anymore, or it doesn't work in the photo mode, but this time it is. I'm not sure if you have it on your settings. If you open the photo mode, it will be on 0 by default. I'm not sure about that, so let me know in the comments if you know. Vignette, same, it's 0 by default, but you can use it. Of course, bloom, you still have a bit of bloom by default. Not much, but yeah, sometimes you want to take it off. Film grain, again, 0 by default, and then you can add some if you want. Then the tab character. Okay, so this is where I'm not happy. Tab character, I really wanted something like Cyberpunk, or a lot of games nowadays get this. By the way, I also advised on Cyberpunk a bit. I didn't mention it before because that was not a real gig. I was part of a group of different virtual photographers giving feedbacks, but that's definitely something I feedback on. Probably not just me, but yeah, the characters position around, pose, custom pose of face. It takes a lot of time to create. Obviously, it was not even on the list of the possibilities, but moving around the characters, and at least what I would have liked to see is hiding one by one characters, being able to choose to get the character that you want, especially in a fight situation, having just one enemy and one character, but yeah, it was just not possible this time. We'll see if the photo mode is very popular and they are willing to polish a bit. This is on the top of the list to have like more options there, at least moving around the characters and stuff like this. So for now, you just have hiding characters, which hides all the characters, like NPCs as well, or hide enemies, which will hide all the enemies. So it is what it is. It's, you know, it's still something that you can use to your benefit in some situations. It's not the best, not the best. And the light tab, finally, that's the best for me. All right, so for the light tab, I'm gonna go a bit wider so we can check on the light sources themselves. Like any other custom light system in photo modes, you have the choice between two sources, two type of sources. So the point light, which is a sphere that lights everything around it the same way, or the spotlight, which is a cone. Let me say just right now that I'm not super happy with how it looks. Like it's a bit tricky to read sometimes, this this cone, this white cone, like the direction stuff. I mean, once you move it around yourself, you will get the movement. But yeah, it's, I mean, I've seen better, but anyways, that's, at least that's here. So you can place it where you want, of course, even in the character. Sometimes you can have some cool effects with this. There is no collision on the light source. So we'll see all the details in a minute, but I want to mention that what's cool in this photo mode, and what I'm very happy that I managed to put there, is the number of light sources. Most games have 3 or 4. Alan Wake 2 have 4, but they are very like presets. You have 10 in this game, so you know, on PC you would have infinite, but actually technically there is a reason why it's a bit limited here. Whatever, I'm not gonna go into details, but having 10 here is pretty cool. So basically, what most studios think, I guess, is that to light a portrait or a character, 3 lights is definitely enough. Now, the reason why I ask for so many lights is not really to have 10 lights on one character. Of course, it doesn't really make sense. But sometimes, virtual photographers, we want to relit the place. We want to lit a detail in the background. We want to lit, like, highlight some jewelry, it's hard to say, or, you know, hair stuff, or I don't know. There are many reasons why you would need more than 3 lights in a photo mode. It's not just portrait photography. So yeah, I'm really happy we have 10. Also, those 10 lights sources, you can move them around freely. Like, you can lose them. If you do lose them, because it happens, especially if you're in close-up and you're messing around with the lights, if you do lose them, you just want to reset by selecting the different sources, spotlight, and then none. And if you reopen it, it will be back at the same place. It's just in front of you, and yeah, that's the way you reset it. So moving around the light, you just press B or circle on your controller, and then you will be able to move it just like if you move your camera. That's the best system to move light sources. I don't know why it's so complicated in other photo modes, except for Hellblade 2, that makes it perfect. Again, that was my explanation and my model here. So you just move around like you would move your camera, and it's very intuitive. And you also have, as I said before, the slow moving thing possible. So right now I'm moving slowly my lights, and now it's just full speed. So very, very interesting to get some precision. And okay, after that you have the intensity. Of course, you have the color. So color, my way to go for using this easily is just to go to color intensity first, then press left. It goes to 100%, and then I go back on my color and select my color. You know, stuff like that. You have the cast shadow on or off. You have the attenuation radius. You have the source radius. I mean, you can just play around in the soft source radius, so it will make a light more soft and with less reflections. Inner cone angle and outer cone angle are not usable with the sphere, of course, but if you change, if you change for spotlight, then you will have it. And let me showcase this. All right, so spotlight. So if you're in close-up like this, you will have the light sources messing a bit. Like visually, it's a bit annoying, but so let's see, inner cone, outer cone. So if I lower my outer cone angle, let me move it in the front. Okay, even with the slow mode, it's sometimes a bit tricky to place it perfectly, but yeah, okay, let's go with that. Okay, so you can get a very small dot. Let's go as small as possible. Yep, that's it. Okay, so this is how small of a light you can get. Of course, I mean, you probably don't want to use it so small, but for catch light in the eye or for different kind of stuff, you have a control very precise and you can get very small dots of light. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. Then what else? Inner core, outer core, volumetric scattering. That's you know, that's pretty much it for this photo mode. And that's it for today. I hope this video helped you understand more about this photo mode and maybe all the photo modes. And I hope you enjoy this game and this photo mode as much as I do. I'm blown away by the response online. I've seen so many great shots already. You know, I'm very happy with this, so I hope you are too. Guys, don't forget to use my code Shinobi on your EA purchases. Please, it helps tremendously. Leave a like, leave a comment, you know, share this video if you want, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'm not doing a lot of videos, but you know, sometimes when I have something to say, I do. So I hope to see you next time, and in the meantime, keep snapping. Bye, guys.